Call to order the first budget hearing for the City of Carrabelle 2019-2020 millage rate and budget. It's Thursday, September 11th, 2019, 5:01 p.m. We're at the Carrabelle City Hall. I'll ask Commissioner Allen to please say the invocation, then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. So if you please stand.
Father in heaven, I'm grateful for the beautiful day you've given us, and we're grateful that we can come together on an occasion such as this. And give us the wisdom to deal wisely with those funds that have been entrusted into our care, that we might spend them wisely and to the best benefit of our lovely city. We ask you to be with all those that are sick and afflicted, and those that have had to endure the storm, and those that are helping and taking care of them. In His name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, new business, item 1. We're going to hold the first of 2 public hearings on the tentative budget and proposed millage rate. The second and final public hearing will be held on September the 23rd, 2019 at 5:01 p.m. at the Carrabelle City Hall. The general public shall be allowed to speak and to ask questions prior to adoption of any measures by this governing body. The governing body shall adopt its tentative millage rate prior to adopting its tentative budget. Prior to the conclusion of the hearing, the governing body of the taxing authority shall amend the tentative budget, recompute its proposed millage rate, and publicly announce the percent, if any, by which the recomputed proposed millage rate exceeds the rollback rate. That percent shall be characterized as the percentage increase in property taxes tentatively adopted by the governing body. So we have the first motion here. We would need a motion, if anyone so cares to do, to adopt the tentative millage rate of 9.0 mills, as we've discussed in our workshop.
I move that we adopt it.
Okay.
9%.
Oh, second. All right, so we have that by Commissioner Mathis. Move to adopt the 9 mills by Commissioner Allen and second by Commissioner Mathis. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and that motion carries. Okay, so now we will move to adopt, if anyone cares to make a motion, the tentative 2019-2020 budget that we discussed in our workshop.
I had a request by the chief on his budget under maintenance and repair vehicles. We put it up 1,000 to 6. He's requesting to take that back down to 5, and then in uniforms take it up to 3. So it wouldn't change the numbers. We're just reallocating the money.
And what number is that?
521,461. So that would go from 6,000 to 5,000.
Okay.
And then 521,675 would go to from 2,000 to 3,000.
Okay, you've already put that on the, all right. I want to report to you all that I got a phone call from Michael Marone yesterday, and I'm sure Commissioner Millender already knows about this. If he said in their meeting last week. So he already knows what I'm going to report. The Carnat knows all. Anyway, I'm reporting for the other commissioners' information and for the public record. Yesterday he called, Michael Marone did, and he has an alternate proposal of $3,500,000 from each city for the same level of animal control services in the city. Is that what you already said you already knew about, even before it came out of my mouth? Okay.
Well, I just have to.
3,500.
3,500. At the so that's down from the 7,000.
Yes.
And the Franklin County Board of County Commissioners wants all calls to be channeled through the sheriff's dispatch So they may develop a data log showing the number of calls, where and when, and what type. And that's, you know, what I had suggested in, we had discussions before in one of our commission meetings, that we needed to develop a data log. And the stipulation, Mike Marone and Chief, that Mr. Marone explained for law enforcement officers to answer the first call is to manage a human dispute. And then the dispatcher will base it on a call that they get, whether or not there's a human dispute, or if it's a dog or other animal, like a coon or something that's just running at large. And then the dispatcher will either refer to the law enforcement agency for that jurisdiction to answer the call first, or if it's an animal running at large, the call will be directed directly to the animal control department. Michael Marone told me that animal control related issues continue to be complaint driven as they have in the past. They won't really be doing any beefed up patrolling or anything. So Mr. Marone has suggested that we call Fonda Davis to work out the details. So that's that. So I would suggest then that we remove on the code enforcement, and I don't know what number that is, code enforcement.
12480.
Code enforcement, yes, 480. Take $3,500 off that. And I suggest that we take another $3,500 off the cemetery and put those towards, put $3,500 towards salaries on the administrative side, $3,500 towards salaries on the police department, and we have ourselves a workshop in October and discuss some salary raises. I've done some calculations on Excel, and it can be done. It can be done, and that includes your retirement and your FICA. And the chief has some standards of salaries that he would like to keep maintained in place that are consistent throughout the area, and he doesn't want to upset that protocol. So, you know, it's not a lot that's required there for that department. So if you've got too much for that department, we might be able to move it to another. But that's what I suggest. And would you all like for me to make a motion for that?
Did you say the cemetery?
Uh-huh.
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
I'm kind of in line with that. I've also looked at, we have a few employees that have not had a salary increase or a salary adjustment in quite some time. Most have, but some haven't. And between the clerk and I, we worked at a percentage type basis, and that $7,500 is going to fall close to in line to what we had figured out. And what I looked at is, again, we've had employees that have recently had salary adjustments to some extent, but again, we've had employees now for quite some time that's had no salary adjustments. And I worked at and what I tried to do is use a 3% and a 4% calculation of that person's base salary instead of just trying to pick a flat number. And that kind of falls in line with what the HR committee is trying to do to get salaries not all stacked on top of one another, to make the adjustments, and it goes along with your position and your duties and responsibilities instead of getting as an example, $1 an hour across the board. If you give a 4% increase to an employee, and I'm just using the number of 4% increase, then a person that has more duties and responsibilities gets a 4% increase of what their base salary is versus a person that has less duties and responsibilities. They get a 4% increase of their salaries. It kind of keeps that pay grade separated instead of everything starting to pile up on one another. So anyway, what the mayor's suggesting, I agree with. I'd like to look at those positions. I'd like for us to think about those positions that have not had salary increases in a while now, and consider a percentage increase for them.
Okay, we're all aware that there are a handful on both the administrative side or general fund side and water and sewer side, just a couple on the water and sewer, who have not had raises in quite a while. We're all aware of that.
Correct.
And that's the reason that I have suggested to move some monies to the police department budget and the administrative budget. And the water and sewer side has money sufficient in their salaries to handle the raises that need to be taken care of on that side that have not had raises, and for the two folks on probation to get their probation raises when that comes in the middle of this next fiscal year. And at this point right now, I'm just asking for a motion to amend those two line items. The code enforcement, remove the $3,500, remove $3,500 from cemetery, put $3,500 at administrative salaries, $3,500 at the police department salaries, and then we'll schedule ourselves a workshop. I do want to say that I'm concerned, and this is one of the reasons that I would like to have our salary scales reviewed by a professional firm.
Exactly.
Because we need, why do I want to have our salaries reviewed by a professional firm? Because we need to study our supervisory salaries, not the wages as well, but the salaries. The salaries need to have a range, and they need to have a cap, because right now we have a standard operating procedure where salaries, where if someone retires, someone is promoted just to get that same rate. No matter how long the first person had been there, the first person may have 30 years and someone may have 10 years, and that person's promoted into that raise. And we need salary caps, or that salary range, and we need caps, and we need to have some type of a percentage where someone is promoted into another position, a higher supervisory position or department head, that there's a cap on that, and then they can get raises as time goes by. I think we need to look at a cost of living raise, if the budget will allow it, where that's where your percentages would come in, 3 to 4%, if our budget allows it, which we need to do that. So that's what I'm looking for, not necessarily to get into the gory details today of working out who's going to get what, or if we're going to go $1 an hour, or if we're going to go percentages. I will say that we have in the past, I'm going to pull up a blast from the past here, which, believe me, I wouldn't do it like that. This is how we did it the last time, across the boards got raises.
Yes, ma'am, I agree with you.
Like this is how it was done. The last time we got across the board raises, that is wrong. So we're not going to do it like that. So we need to have a workshop on it and have some good Excel spreadsheets. Okay. What do y'all think?
May I comment?
Sir.
Okay. I wasn't asking why, and I didn't say why. I concur with you, and that's what I was alluding to when I said that's the direction the HR committee is trying to go, especially if we get an HR firm to look at what we're doing here with our policies and procedures, and hopefully we're going to look at our salary ranges, and all of that will come into place, what we're working toward. Take a while to get there, but that's what we're working toward. And I'd like to see exactly what you're talking about, and I think that'd be a good way to go.
All right, very good. So, can we have a motion then to adopt the tentative budget with the well, let's see, we've got 4 items that are changed. The 2 items requested in the police department, and then to add another $3,500 to their salaries, and add a $3,500 to the administrative salaries.
So that's a total of how much, Mayor?
That would be,
7,000?
7 to 3,500 is coming from code enforcement where they
Right.
have reduced, and that's something else we need to
Right.
talk about some other time.
But
And
That's-
then
that 7,000 is not including water and sewer, correct?
water and sewer has sufficient monies in
To
their
cover
water.
theirs,
Yes.
correct?
Mhm.
Yes. I'll make a motion, we do that.
All right. So that motion is to adopt a tentative budget with the changes that we've just listed here, Ms. Keisha, the 4 changes. By
I'll
Commissioner Melander.
But the overall total's the same,
Yes.
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 if you want to announce that.
Okay, and then we are just, have a motion then by Commissioner Melander to adopt the tentative 2019-2020 budget with the changes as listed, with the overall budget still remaining the same as publicized. And then we have that second by Commissioner Allen. Is there any discussion? Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and then that motion carries. All right, number 2, now we're going to talk about the resolutions here. And this is Resolution 10, 2019. And we have a resolution of the City of Carrabelle of Franklin County, Florida, adopting the tentative levying of ad valorem taxes for Franklin County for fiscal year 2019-2020 and providing for an effective date. And we need a motion then regarding this resolution 10, 2019, adopting the tentative 2019-2020 millage of 9 mills.
Make a motion to
Okay.
approve.
And we have that motion by Commissioner Mathis. Do we have a second?
Second.
And that second by Commissioner Melander. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. Okay, so now we have the second resolution here, resolution number 11, 2019. It's a resolution of the City of Carrabelle of Franklin County, Florida, adopting the tentative budget for fiscal year 2019-20 and providing for an effective date. And so what we need here is a motion regarding Resolution 11, 2019, adopting the tentative 2019-2020 budget.
I'll make a motion.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Allen to adopt a tentative budget. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Mathis. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and that motion carries, and may we have a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have that motion by Commissioner Melander. Do we have a second?
I'll say that.
Keith?
I know it.
I'm just listening.
I'm gonna have to.
I'm just listening.
Is there a discussion about this adjournment? Okay, then, all in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. Any opposed? Okay, and that one carries. Okay, and that was Melander and Mathis on the adjournment. All right, folks.
That was quick.